everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 28th, 2026. Nikki Newman has gone blind. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Blind. Crap. In the span of 1 week's time, too. It came on fast. Will it return fast? I don't know. It all started out with these headaches. Then it became blurred vision. Then she goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells her that she has a mass. And that mass is pressing on her optic nerve. If this drags out too long, it's going to be pressing on my optic nerve. The collective Y&R fans' octave nerves. But they told her initially that she had two choices: radiation or surgery, and both of those options could have the result of permanent blindness. Well, right away, radiation is out. That would take too long, and it is not nearly soapy enough. So, emergency surgery it is. Dang. I really kept expecting Nate to just shake out his hand and say, "Whew, it's a miracle. My hand is working again." I'll just jump right in there. I almost cannot conceive that we have this medical crisis and a need for a sexy surgeon, and we have Stephanie, who's been pushing Nate to remember his love of medicine, only to have him not perform Nikki's surgery? I don't know. That's a little disappointing. I love that Nate keeps up on the latest, though. He's fully informed of all of the latest. His hands can't perform the surgery, but his brain could. I guarantee you that if medicine is anything like computer technology, you blink and you miss everything. Nate has not practiced medicine in 5 years at this point? There's no way that he's keeping his business job and still keeping up on all the latest and greatest. Even if you're in the industry, you probably can't keep up with all the latest and greatest. But we have got this other surgeon. Lucky for us, Victor is flying her in on the private jet, maybe even the Newman helicopter. But will we ever see this surgeon, this Dr. Sheriff of Nottingham? I don't know. She's supposed to be the very best, but what will the results be? Will Nikki Newman be permanently blind on The Young and the Restless? she opened her eyes only to see with absolute clarity the man who she loves more than anything else in the world, Victor Newman. This week, Clara really rolled the dice on the Victor and Nikki reunion game. First, she tried setting up a lunch date for them, but when that didn't work, she just straight up told Victor all about Nikki's headaches, all about the optic nerve, all about the potential for blindness. Even though she went to Victoria, confessed that she mentioned the headaches to Victor, Victoria wasn't happy about it. Claire still received the information about the tumor and then went back to Victor and told him about that too. I would say somebody is really pushing to get that publishing job. She really, really wants it. She wants to be in Victor's good graces. Grandpa is probably going to put her name on a building after that incredible display of loyalty. Victor loves a loyalty test. Well, there you go. Claire passed it. She passed Nikki's private medical information right along. And Victoria wasn't involved, but she wasn't entirely mad at it either, because Victoria had been separately hounding Nikki to bring Victor up to speed, which I don't really think he needed to know. I don't think he deserved to know. I mean, they made it seem like it was a foregone conclusion that she should tell him, but I mean, they're estranged. That's their private marriage, and it was Nikki's choice not to tell him. I don't know about you, but I can just completely understand why she would not want him involved, why she would not want him jumping in and trying to control everything the way he always does. She knew that she was sick, and she still gave Victor the rings back. Wow, how about that incredible scene this week, you guys? Victor goes to Nikki's hotel room. They argue, but then he goes to leave and she stops him at the door, pulls the wedding rings off of her finger and hands them out in her palm. And Victor looked at her like, really? And then he grabbed the rings out of her hand, gave her the pointy finger, and walked out. He looked so hurt. Ugh. And all the scenes in the hospital room as he's watching her and she doesn't know he's there. It's just, it hurts me. It still gets me. Eric Braeden is just so powerful and so gifted. And I mean, he portrays power, but he also portrays sensitivity all wrapped into one bundle. And it just, when Victor cries, I cry. It's like I just know that it's okay. If Victor's crying, it's okay for me to cry. And Melody Thomas Scott is ripping my heart out right now too. The moment that she reached out to Phil Nicholas's face. Just so beautiful. It's also very touching. But I also completely know that there is a light at the end of this particular tunnel. I know that those rings only came off so that they can go right back on. All this talk about blindness, well, naturally my mind went to another one of Victor's blind wives, but Y&R decided to connect the current events to Neil instead. I don't think I ever would have thought of that connection, but it's even better than you realize. How did Neil go blind on The Young and the Restless? Well, that in and of itself is an interesting story, but I'd say the real burn-in story is less about how Neil went blind and more about how his son had an affair with his wife while he was blind. Dang, nobody on screen decided to dig deeper into that particular dirty little detail. So, leave it to Allie's Y&R Chat to do the dirty work for you. This week's retro recap is all about how Neil Winters went blind and Devon and Hilary had an affair right in front of him. Oh, so good. And King helped cover it up. And Colin blackmailed Devon to keep it covered up. And Neil regained his sight way before he ever told anyone about it. And then totally exposed Devon and Hilary's affair on a private plane, which then crashed. I'm telling you, you have got to relive this one, you guys. The devastation of Neil's blindness and his bitterness, but also his tenderness and his love for Hilary, and then the betrayal of learning that his son was sleeping with his wife and everyone in the family was covering it up. This story is one of Christophe St. John's best. And believe it or not, the whole story finds its way back to a connection with Nikki. So yrchat.com is where you can find that one this week, or just search it out on YouTube. Y&R Chat retro recap. While Neil goes blind, Devon and Hilary have an affair. It just doesn't get any more soapy than that. That Diane Jenkins is one sly minx, developing an attachment to her therapist. She is good. She is very good. And I feel like this guy, this therapist, is no match for her. And especially not her and her feminine wiles. I think Diane Jenkins could chew him up and spit him right back out. So, good luck, Lawrence Markum, if that really is your name. You know, I was really relieved to see that Diane is still actively trying to get the heck out of there, trying to save herself, trying to save her sanity, because the whole acquiescence act is very convincing. She is telling this doctor how much she appreciates him and how much she really wants to get better. And she is seeming very affected by the information that he is giving her, which is a clear plot to convince her that Jack doesn't love her anymore. And I mean, it really couldn't be more obvious from the outside, but I think when you would be trapped in this environment, it would be really easy to give into it. It would be really easy to doubt yourself. But Diane is staying strong, even though this doctor is poking at the Patty wound that Diane already had, that she really clearly very much had. And I'm sure that's exactly what Patty told him to do. Because he was saying things like, well, maybe Jack wanted you to walk in and see him and Patty together. Maybe Jack is not as in love with you and devoted to you as you think. Maybe Jack is actually indifferent to you. Maybe Jack has moved on. Patty has moved into the mansion. But Diane really is staying strong. I think she knows very much that this is all part of a Cuckoo Bananas Patty Williams plot, and she is just trying to hold on long enough for either Jack and Kyle to rescue her, or long enough for her to get her hands on these sleeping pills that she's begging for, so that she can, I don't know, slip them into his drink or something and knock him out and then get the heck out of this secluded mansion prison with the state-of-the-art gym downstairs. I was very impressed with Kyle's plan to lure Markum out of the house and into a meeting by calling him on the phone and saying, okay, well, guess what? I followed you back to your house. I saw my mother through the windows, and you can either meet with me or the next call I make will be to the police. That was really good. It was really smart. I was happy to see Jack and Kyle working together. And I had real hope that it was going to work out. I mean, I was literally like, yes, okay, I can see the rescue's coming. Don't worry, Diane, hang on. The boys are going to be there. Jack's going to be there. But then I saw Patty creeping around the corner at Crimson Lights, listening to the whole thing. Jack is very much playing along with Patty at this point, which is ridiculous and icky and like borderline non-consensual. And yet at the same time, it puts Peter Bergman on my screen, and I love him, and I can't help it. I like Jack. I like seeing Jack. And it's quite a challenge for him because he can barely tolerate being in his own skin when Patty is in the room. And he spent the week talking through it with not only Kyle, but also Billy. And I thought it was funny that he said he gave Patty his black card to go shopping just so that he could get her out of the house and out of his sight for a couple of hours. I did not know that a black card exists? I have never heard of that before. Have you? I've heard of gold cards. And at some point, I think it became platinum. But then apparently sometime in the last 20 years, while I wasn't paying attention and certainly don't have that kind of money, it became a black card. Okay. I have no hopes of ever getting my hands on one. But of course, Patty came home with some, I'm sure, sexy, skimpy new lingerie and dresses, all leopard print, I'm sure. And she started slinking up on him, trying to seduce him, and he was not having it. So Patty implies that if he doesn't comply with her, then Diane might just disappear forever. So Jack turns on a dime, rushes toward her, and gives her so much hard kisses that it nearly popped her head off. She came out of that kiss saying, "You bit my lip, Jack." I cannot believe it. 73 years old and Jack can still unlock vampire mode. Go, Jack! Patty made the mistake this week of setting up a meeting at the Abbott house. She actually had Dr. Dogs on the front porch come to the Abbott mansion and try to convince Jack that Diane is in therapy and Patty is totally legit. But the doctor's wrong move was assuring Jack that Patty is as sane as I am. That's what he said. Patty is as sane as I am. And I thought, well, there you go. This guy's clearly a mental patient. He and Patty have broken out of the psych ward together, and she must have used her money that Victor gave her for the yacht incident to pay him to pretend. Now, as for whether or not his real identity is Martin Laurent, well, I mean, he is a Gemini. The twins. So, again, this is either totally going to turn into a I got plastic surgery and now I'm back villain story, or Y&R is doing a very good job of driving me crazy with this red herring. Everyone's favorite bad boy turned puppy dog, Matt Clark, actually worked up the nerve to ask Phyllis out on a date this week. And I want to give him a good pat on the head for working up the nerve to do it, because Phyllis is a tough cookie. And I certainly would not want to risk getting rejected by her. But he did it. He did it. Good boy. But what is she going to say? Is she going to agree to it? What do you think? I think that should be our poll question for this week. Do you guys think that Matt and Phyllis have real romantic potential? Like anything beyond short term, okay, well, this is entertaining for a week or two. Like, is there any chance that this could be a real long-term romance? You should go to yrchat.com this week and weigh in on that. I'm just of two minds about it all. First of all, Matt's proposal for a date was as long as a wedding proposal. It was a whole story. Boy meets girl. Boy is former rapist. Girl seems to understand him in a way no one else does, but boy understands her too. How about dinner tonight? He played into her ego perfectly, which tells me that he really does indeed understand her in a way that no one else does. But I also liked the part where he was complimenting her. I think Phyllis does have a light in her heart. I think she is someone special, and I think you do have to work through a lot of noise to get to it, though. But I love how enamored he is with her. I love that, because Phyllis hasn't had someone who is this into her in so long, if not ever. I mean, when was the last relationship she even had? Well, it was Kane. But yeah, that was hot, but it wasn't mutual. It wasn't mutual. Not in the way that she deserves. Not in the way that anyone deserves, really. It just, the dynamic was off. I feel like anyone, including Phyllis, deserves to have someone who looks at them like they're the most intriguing creature in the world. And Kane looks at Lily that way. He never looked at Phyllis that way. And I want someone to feel that way about Phyllis, especially after all of the drama with Kane and after all of the drama with the Newmans. And I like that Matt seems to feel that way about her, but the question for me is she capable of feeling that way about him in return? The only relationship that Phyllis has ever had that felt mutual was with Nick. And there was that little voice in the back of my head that thought, okay, after Phyllis saved his life, well, maybe there's a way that they can find their way back to each other. But then again, I've been saying that about a Nick and Sharon reunion for like years now. Nick is clearly on the path to recovery, and he probably does not need to deal with a relationship right now. But I appreciate the fact that Nick's recovery is not being presented as a straight line. It's not. It's got zigs and zags, and you go backwards a few steps and forwards a few steps. His drug dealer showed up at the coffee house this week, which makes me think Sharon really needs to put in some security cams or something back there. And yet at the same time, that's very realistic too. Drug dealers don't always look like skeevy creeps. They can look like regular dudes blending in while blowing your mind with drugs. But Nick was able to resist. He was able to resist the guy. He told the dude to get out and not come back. And then he talked to Noah about it, which was really nice. He didn't feel the need to hide it. He also opened up to Sharon, saying that his recovery has been a whole lot harder than he ever imagined. He said, I thought it would be a day to day, day by day. I expected that. But the reality is it's more of a struggle like hour to hour. And that really struck me because that seems like torture, just absolute torture. I also thought it was really interesting that he talked about his dreams where he's trying to get the drugs, and then he does get the drugs, but they don't affect him the way that they did before. That seemed very realistic too, because I'm sure when you have a drug addiction, it must feel like you're always chasing something, whether you're conscious of that feeling or not, but it must feel like a constant chase. And now with Nikki's blindness, I do worry that he will start to chase some form of relief. And she talked to him about that. She said, if this is going to trigger you in any way, then I don't want you to be here, but I still worry that it is going to trigger him. And it doesn't have to be pills. It could be alcohol. It could be gambling. It could be eating. It could be sex. Oh, please let it be sex. Love is merely a madness. Oh, what a good line. Who said it? Love is merely a madness. If you think you know, you can go to Y&R Chat to find out if you're right. Let's read some comments. I want to start with Russell, who says, once again, Nick's scenes about his struggles with his addiction were really, really good. When he is searching his feelings and sorting his problems on this issue, I am hanging on his every word. Sharon seemed her old self as she listened and asked thoughtful questions. Great scenes with them. And the scenes with Noah almost made me cry. Damn, I'm a basket case. I know, and then you add Nikki on top of it, Russell. It was definitely a tears-worthy week. Really slow, too. Like, there was, again, we're only seeing, 4 stories at a time for the entire week. We're really digging in deep on very specific characters, very specific situations. And yeah, Nick was really good in his scenes. With the drug dealer, with Noah, and with Sharon. I also appreciated that we got that little glimpse of Sharon as a therapist, because that part of her history has absolutely dropped off. I mean, she will occasionally mention it, but there was a time when Sharon's entire purpose, entire function on the show was to be a therapist to all the other characters. And this week we saw a little glimpse of that when she said to Nick, "And how did that make you feel?" He looked at her like, "Don't therapize me." And she said, "I'm just asking." More as a friend. How about this? Gary says, is Harrison Locke Abbott gone for good? The way of many. Oh no, Harrison Locke, alert, alert. Where has Harrison gone? Well, we learned this week that Harrison is very busy playing with snakes, still trying to get over his crush on Claire. That's what it really was. Harrison had to go off screen to like recover from his Claire crush. T. Nicole says, Claire is a bit of a tattletale. Like mother, like daughter. But I will say for Victoria, I do understand her side. She seems like she needs someone to talk to and confide in, because it is a huge weight to carry on herself. Yeah, I mean, I totally get Victoria's position. She wants to be there to support Nikki, but she needs support too. She's watching her mother go through this. She doesn't want to dump it all on Nick, because of the drug addiction. So Claire was a very natural person for her to talk to. And I kind of felt like Claire betrayed Victoria's confidence, betrayed Nikki's confidence by going to Victor. Of course, we needed her for the plot, but still. Daisy says, I don't know why, but when Victor took the rings from Nikki and put his finger up to her, it reminded me of the Terminator. I'll be back. And then Victor stepping into Nikki's hospital room when she was so upset, yelling she can't see. It was so sad. I hope Nikki will be okay, but it may be a while since Nikki has a lot of physical and emotional healing to do. I hope she lets Victor help her, though, which will also help him. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Nikki is going to need a lot of support, but she also has a lot of support. She's got her children and her grandchildren, and I just think, okay, would it be nice if Nikki and Victor were united for this? Sure, but number one, I know that that's the whole point of all of this, is to force the reunion of Nikki and Victor. But number two, it's like, well, then she should have been the one to choose it. Connie says Nikki is absolutely right about not giving into Victor's bullying and this being her decision. For the life of me, I don't understand why her medical choices aren't being respected and why her wishes seem to matter less than his. Victoria is annoyingly pressuring her mom to just give in, to appease him and let him have his way because it's easier than telling him to back off and let her have the space she needs. And Claire is way beyond wrong to defy her wishes and expose her diagnosis. These shameful betrayals will leave Nikki hurt, angry, or both, and the collateral damage to her health is so misguided and unnecessary. Yeah, Connie, I agree with you 100%. And the interesting thing, though, is that Nikki didn't see it that way. Ultimately, she was fine with it. Both Victoria kind of betrayed her trust, and then Claire kind of betrayed Victoria's trust, and Nikki was okay with it. Again, it's all plot because we need Nikki to not be the one to initiate. You know, we needed the family to go ahead and give this info to Victor so that the reunion can be more touching, because Nikki never would have given in. She never would initiate. What Nikki has to see is, oh, Victor was there for me. Which is also ridiculous, because when Nikki was told that Victor's been there the whole time, that in fact he's the one that went out and got her fancy surgeon, Nikki was like, wow, really? I mean, are you kidding me? You didn't guess that that was what he was gonna do? You thought that Victor Newman was gonna stand by and do nothing? I don't think so. Gary says, I thought Nikki's blindness would be a long, contemplative state of affairs and figuring out what to do since the doctor stressed the perilous nature of going under the knife. But now a brilliant, beautiful new doctor is already on her way to Genoa City to rush Nikki into surgery. Will the surgery fail under her expertise? Where does this leave the story if the mass is removed from the optic nerve and Nikki is cured so soon? Will this sexy new doctor find love with Dr. Nathan Hastings as brilliant minds meet? Wow, Gary, that's a lot of questions. I think you're zeroing in on a couple good things. Like, I thought that this was going to be a longer process, Nikki's, decision of whether or not to have the surgery. And then all of a sudden we're getting the surgery very quickly. And the question is it going to be like a quickie thing? By next week at this time, is she going to be totally cured? Or are we going to drag out the blindness? I think we will. I think the blindness is what's going to be dragged out. I think we're going to see her going through her process of slowly recovering over the course of the next couple of weeks. As to whether or not we're going to see the sexy surgeon, I don't know. And I have looked through the casting updates and I haven't seen anything that says we're actually getting the surgeon. So I don't know if this was just Y&R's way of saying, well, we can't really have Nate do it because of his hand. But we can, just make up an off-screen surgeon to do it instead until Nate gets his hand fixed. And I don't even know if Nate is going to get his hand fixed out of all this. What if all this is just like a little reminder, a little way to give Nate a side story while it's all going on, and it never amounts to nothing? I have no idea. Ooh, okay. Victoria says, I wonder if the New York brilliant surgeon will have an issue such as a hand cramp, and the good Dr. Nate will have to step in. Thus, Nate will realize he can perform surgery again. So maybe the story is leading us to Nikki and Victor reuniting and Y&R having their medical stories back. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Like, emergency, emergency, we need your hand. And then he's like, okay, it actually, my hand does work fine. I can perform surgery after all. That could be. How about this, the question of the week? Is that gray in Kyle's hair? Says Russell. That's an odd choice for him being so young. They age up the kids, not the adults. The adults are aged down, usually. Russell, I saw lots of comments about Kyle's hair this week. I started to notice the graying very prominently a couple of weeks ago, but this week, especially when he was at the Chancellor Park Cafe set, it was just shining at his temples. I mean, as if he couldn't get any sexier. That gray looks so good on him. I don't think it's dyed. I think it's natural. I think he's just, I don't know how old he is, but people gray at different ages. He's probably in his 30s, right? That makes sense that he'd be starting to get a little gray in the temples. I love him. I love Michael Milor. I think he's such a good Kyle. Always appreciate him on my screen. And now with this little touch of gray in his hair, he's sexier than ever. Russell also says, who knew Patty could cook like that? And she's an efficient personal assistant, too. Oh, my goodness. She was making omelets and quiche, which is not easy to pull off. I'm sure she had muffins, she had juice. She was just, she went out and picked the flowers from the garden that morning. Patty was on. She is really getting into her whole homemaker, Betty Crocker, Martha Stewart vibes. And Jack wanted to vomit on it. She's ridiculous. She's over the top. I don't know what kind of longevity this is going to give her on the show. Because once Diane is rescued, once Patty is busted, what is she going to do? I mean, she's like branded as this psychopath character. And Y&R didn't change that. They brought her back this time with 100% less Mr. Kitty. But she's still crazy in a different way. She can't really turn into a leading lady. Although once again, if Matt Clark can be turned into a leading man, romantic man, then I'm sure they could do it with Patty too. But we are not seeing signs of that yet. Victoria says Patty should have been on her way to see a dentist instead of spying on Jack and Kyle at Crimson Lights. The bit lip was so good. I mean, ain't no doubt about it. That was probably the single greatest moment of the week for me. Just like, it's those that's such a little tiny touch that was so good. Yeah, she might have to get stitches in her lip after that. Dang, but just to me, that's like, ooh, go Jack. He kissed her so hard, he bit her. Connie says, I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed to find the scenes with Jack and Patty creepy and disgusting. And the Diane and the pseudo-doctor scenes are ridiculously unbelievable. I am over the kidnapping thing and ready to get Patty and her quack doctor back to the institution where they belong. Maybe the Scooby-Doo mystery team can help solve the mystery. Ugh. You know, the part that... you're right, Connie. It is gross. I mean, especially the Jack and Patty thing, because... it does feel like icky, sexual, and non-consensual. It is gross and creepy. And then Diane and the doctor is also gross and creepy. And especially now that Diane is playing along and saying, oh, you know, I think I'm developing an attachment to you. And he's like, well, that seems perfectly healthy for me. It is gross. The thing I'm just waiting for is to find out if Markum is Martin. That's the whole thing. My mind wants that answer and wants it soon. Different topic. Tony says, I have just discovered all the flashback episodes, the retro recaps. Where have I been? They are great. So... Tracy has mentioned to Patty that she killed her daughter. I'd like to see Tracy march into the ranch and confront Victor. He was so forgiving to Matt and Phyllis for saving Nick's life. Well, what about Colleen's heart that saved his own life? They never mention it, and he seems to show no compassion to Tracy or the Abbotts for allowing that to be. Yes, Tony. Covered that in my The Death of Colleen Carlton retro recap, if anybody wants to look that one up. Because, yes, Patty caused Colleen's death, kind of, sort of, but it was really Victor who set off the chain of events. Victor's the one that brought Patty back to town. Colleen kind of just got caught up in another one of Patty's schemes. She didn't get murdered. She tripped and fell by accident and drowned. But then went into the hospital, and as Tony mentions, Colleen's heart... Patty shot Victor, and then Colleen's heart was used to give Victor a heart transplant. And it was an incredible story. It's actually one of the most memorable stories of all time that Y&R has done, especially because it hinged on Tracy's choice. You know, do I give my daughter's heart to the man who caused her death? It's really, you should watch the retro recap because I really get into it emotionally. It's so compelling. I love a Tracy focused story, and I love your idea, Tony, that Tracy should get in there and confront Victor over this. I mean, this is just another one of his, I brought Patty back to town and now there are these consequences. And yet Y&R doesn't pick up on that. It's funny, the threads that they choose to pick up on and then the ones that they don't. But that would be a really great Tracy moment. She should have confronted Victor, not Patty. Well, I asked you guys last week if you think Lawrence Markum is really Martin Laurent. 53% say no. I don't know, because the other thing too is if Martin was coming back, he could have a Tracy obsession and that would give Tracy some more story. But the majority say, 53%, no, Martin is not Lawrence. Marianne V says he looks like Martin, so maybe it's him. Or does he just look like him and practice psychiatry? That's a lot of coincidence. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw him, though. Yeah, I mean, like, that. But the thing is, they said this week that they looked up Markum's credentials online, and the house is in his name and everything. So I don't know how they could have pulled all of that off if his real identity was Martin. But check out this also from Tony. This is the best answer. Tony says, well, there was Alan and Martin, twins, but then this could be another brother. Brain explode. That's the best idea. That this Lawrence Markum could be a third brother, not a twin maybe even, but just a third brother. That would explain a lot. I mean, would a psychiatrist really have every single one of Alan's books? Alan, okay. Yeah, he's a psychiatrist. Was he really that famous? Was he really the premier psychiatrist in the world? I didn't get that impression. Steven says, let's be honest, Dr. Lawrence Markum is far too stuffy a name for the mastermind of such an inept kidnap plot. From now on, he's Larry, co-star of the Larry and Patty show. Good old Larry. Rather than playing the amateur vigilante, Jack needs to go tell Detective Burrow the details of Patty's threats and Larry's suspicious behavior. Even if Burrow lacks absolute proof that she's an inside, he can go and initiate an aggressive knock-and-talk welfare check to see if Diane is there. Yeah. But that's another one of those things. It's like, well, but then, you know, it's too rational. It's just too rational. Detective Burrow did get brought in on the case, though. It was like Y&R said, just bring him in for like a scene so we can say that they talked to the cops, but we are going to have them go rogue because drama. Let's talk about Phyllis and Matt. Naomi says Matt and Phyllis were great today. Phyllis checked her reflection in the knife at the athletic club, and Matt quietly said, "You look great." These two make the show so interesting with their line delivery, facial expressions, and gestures. Yeah, I mean, I do like them together. I know that Michelle Stafford and Roger Howarth were on screen together on GH. Were they a couple over there? Can anybody tell me that? I don't know if they were actually a full-fledged couple, but maybe maybe Y&R's like, you know what? We saw the chemistry over there, and we are gonna bring it over here. We're gonna carry it over. Naomi says Noah is becoming Newman-like when confronting Matt. He looked tough, talked tough, much like his grandpa. Yeah, yes, I mean, it's like he's got this whole new tough guy personality. I could not stop peeling apart the layers of his wardrobe this week. That's what really threw me off. He's got this like whole new persona, which Y&R has now reflected in his wardrobe. He's got like slicked back hair. He was wearing a silky, shiny, button-up patterned shirt. He had it buttoned up at the club, but then when he got to Crimson Lights, he had unbuttoned it, and you could see his white Fruit of the Loom undershirt showing underneath it. Then he had like all this chest hair and a gold chain nestled into it. I was like, what is going on? They've totally revamped the vibe of this character. I will say he matches Sienna a little better, because when he came on, he was definitely more all-American boy, which is how I think of Noah, to be honest with you. But now they've got him as like hip, cool bartender, or as Connie and Gary both mentioned, John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. He's staying alive. You guys are ridiculous, and you force me to be ridiculous. I have to rise to the level of ridiculousness. I have to elevate the ridiculousness. That's my full-time job. Ridiculousness. Oh, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoyed this Y&R chat. I've had so much fun talking with you guys today and putting together these Y&R retro recaps. Hey, after you're done with this, go relive Neil's blindness. That is perfect for this weekend, perfect for this upcoming week. Not only blindness, but betrayal and an affair. It is way too good. And after you're done with that, you know, you can get the first, I think it's like all the way up through the end of the first chapter, maybe like 20 minutes of the Fauna and the Flora audiobook I'll put the link in the description here, or just search my Restless Forest Books channel. But, you know, put that on. Spend 20 minutes with the Fauna and the Flora and see if that is a story that strikes you. Speaking of staying alive, Victor Newmouse is presumed dead, but he is indeed staying alive. And what do you know? He's at a farmhouse with a blind mouse. The blindness themes are really present this week. Nikki's blindness, Neil's blindness, and a beautiful mouse named Grace Atoms, who Victor Newmouse comes upon and falls in love and creates a beautiful story in the Fauna and the Flora. In fact, you can see the very first threads of their relationship in that 20-minute audiobook preview. You've got to listen to it. You've got a lot of stuff to do. You're going to be very busy this upcoming week listening to all of this bonus material. I hope you enjoy it. I love you guys. I am looking forward to finding out where we are next week at this time. Hopefully some things will be revealed. And whether or not they are, we'll talk about them. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.